Okay, so let's get into this. We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating text, a fictional lost manuscript of Albert Camus called The Noonday Light.
Hmm.
And this isn't just, dry philosophy. This is a story. It's about what happens when these grand ideas about life and meaning run headfirst into reality.
It's a fantastic thought experiment. We're following this character, Pierre Martel, who is, let's be honest, he's basically Camus.
A stand-in for sure.
Right. And he returns to Algiers, his home, after 2 decades away. He comes back armed with all the big ideas of his youth, the doctrine of the absurd, and this concept he calls lucid refusal.
And the absurd, just for a quick refresher, that's the whole idea that the universe doesn't care about us, right? It's silent, it's indifferent.
Exactly. And lucid refusal is his answer to that. It's the commitment to just say no to that meaninglessness, to insist on human dignity anyway.
So Martel thinks his freedom is in that negation, in saying no.
Precisely. His freedom was all about rejecting things. No God, no cosmic plan, no easy answers. But the whole point of this manuscript is to see how the relentless light of Algiers forces him to find a different kind of freedom.
A freedom in saying yes to something.
In a way, the big question here is, what does freedom actually look like when you give up on being pure, when you accept that you're going to get your hands dirty, when you accept contamination?
That's a huge question. And really way in Notebook I, his old ideas start to crumble. He talks about Paris, how the fog and mist let him sort of hide.
Yeah, you could compromise in Paris, but in Algiers, there are no shadows. The light is, and he uses this word, an inquisitor. It strips you bare.
It's asking him, what are you really, without all your fancy words?
And that's the thing. In Paris, his philosophy, this whole architecture of lucidity he'd built, it felt liberating.
The certainty of knowing there was no answer?
Right, but under the Algiers sun, it's just exhausting. It's brittle. He starts to wonder if, maybe clarity might not be the same as light. All that saying no starts to feel like a cage.
And then his mother comes into the picture. And she has no philosophy at all. She just is.
She embodies this deep, non-intellectual endurance. He comes home after 20 years, and she receives him without question, without joy, without sorrow.
She's like a fact of nature.
Exactly. She represents a wisdom that his intellect just can't touch. He realizes she'd never asked why she suffered. So she never added the burden of revolt to her suffering. Her life is just this body's simple liturgy.
Doing the next thing that needs to be done.
Yeah, and her quiet presence just completely deflates his intellectual posturing. Her truth is lived. It's not something she reasoned out.
That silence is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it leads to this first big shift for him, doesn't it? When he's floating in the Mediterranean.
It's a beautiful scene. In Notebook 2, his hero has always been Sisyphus, the guy pushing the rock alone, the ultimate solitary rebel. But floating in the sea, he realizes he's not alone at all. He's part of a continuum. He is held by the same water that holds everyone else.
So this is where his idea of solidarity comes from.
It is, and it's not really political solidarity, not at first. It's metaphysical. He realizes we're all made of the same substance, subject to the same limits.
So the universe might be indifferent.
But we aren't. We can't be. Because we're in this together. That's the duty that flows from the absurd, not in spite of it.
Okay, so that's a huge step. But then he gets out of the water and has to look at the actual city, at the people, and the absurd. It changes.
It really does. In Notebook 3, he confronts the reality of colonial Algeria, and he decides that, okay, the universe's indifference is absurd, but human indifference to human suffering, that's not absurd, that's obscene.
The problem isn't just that we die, it's that we die unequally.
Yes, because of poverty, because of oppression, and this gets hammered home when he starts talking to people like Salim, the dockworker.
Salim basically calls him out, right?
He does. He challenges this very abstract idea of freedom Martel has. Salim says, what good is freedom of thought if you don't have food or safety or even the time to think?
And Martel has to admit it. I have been too abstract.
It's the moment his theory crashes right into reality. He starts to see poverty not as some philosophical condition, but as a fact, a simple lack.
Like with his mother. Her poverty wasn't an idea. It was not enough money, not enough food.
Exactly. There's that incredible little anecdote, right, where he asks her if she was happy back then at the beach.
Yeah. And she doesn't give him some big philosophical answer. She just says,
the water was nice.
and that says it all. But this immediately creates a new problem for him, the problem of measure.
A huge one. He can't accept the injustice he sees, but he also can't accept the revolutionary violence he sees brewing as the only answer. He knows that justice pursued without measure becomes injustice.
The classic dilemma. How do you fight something awful without becoming awful yourself?
It's paralyzing.
Yeah.
Because he realizes that the desire for clean hands, for moral purity, that's a luxury.
It's for people who can afford to just watch from the sidelines.
Right. And he recognizes that doing nothing is a choice, a political choice. So to act, to actually engage with the world, he has to accept contamination. His hands are going to get dirty.
So he finally makes a move. In Notebook 7, he starts teaching dockers how to read and write. In secret.
A small act, teaching men to write their own names.
But it's not small at all, is it? Salim points out right away that this is dangerous.
Extremely. Salim tells him, reading leads to questions. Questions lead to demands. He's not just teaching the alphabet. He's arming them intellectually.
And we see the proof of that with a student, Yasmina.
Oh, Yasmina's such a great character. She reads Rousseau and immediately critiques him, saying, he talks about men being in chains, but what about women's chains?
So she takes his lesson of lucidity and runs with it.
All the way. She eventually leaves to join the armed resistance. He taught her how to question, and she took that questioning to its most radical, violent conclusion. He sees the direct consequence of his actions.
And all of this builds and builds until the ultimate test in Notebook 9X. This is the real core of the book.
It's agonizing. Salim, who's now deep in the resistance, comes to him. He tells Martel about a planned bombing, an operation that is going to kill innocent civilians, including children.
And he puts Martel in an impossible position.
A complete double bind. He's not asking for permission. He's forcing a choice. Martel can warn the authorities, save those lives, but that means betraying his friend Salim, sending him to his death.
Or he can stay silent and become complicit in murder.
There's no clean option. There's no way out. And he makes a choice. He chooses loyalty over principle. He says nothing.
And the manuscript is very clear about the cost of that.
Oh, it's visceral. When he reads the news about the bombing, the text says he was physically sickened. He vomits in an alley. His body itself rejects the moral weight of what he's done.
That's the death of the observer. He's no longer outside looking in.
Not at all. He rates that adulthood is not the freedom to choose, but the weight of having chosen. He is now, as he puts it, inside history, inside contamination, inside the real.
He's completely broken by it.
Yes. But, paradoxically, that's where he starts to find some real wisdom. He talks to this priest, Father Christophe, who tells him something profound.
Right, the priest says.
You don't have to be strong enough. You just have to show up broken and do the next thing.
So being broken is the right response. It's not a failure.
It's the only honest response to a broken world. Pretending you're whole is a kind of lie. And this continuing broken connects right back to his mother's simple endurance.
And out of that, Salim gives him a new kind of ethics, a new measure.
A very stark one. Salim's formula is simple. We cannot make it right. We can only make it less wrong.
Wow. So abandon the idea of fixing everything. Just focus on damage control.
That's the only ethics left when every choice is contaminated. And this leads Martel to redefine love too. After the bombing, confronting Salim.
He realizes love isn't about agreeing with someone.
Not at all. He says it's complicity. It's the refusal to abandon your friend even when what they do makes you sick. He tells Salim, I love you, brother, even as I am sickened by what you do. Both things are true.
That's what love means at the level of the real.
Yeah, an ethics based on shared fate, not a shared ideology.
So the whole journey comes full circle at the end in Notebook S11. He goes back to the ruins at Tipasa.
The place where he had all his youthful, sun-drenched ideas. And he understands now that the absurd wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning. It was the fire that had to burn away his illusions.
And what's left after the fire?
Freedom. But a new kind. Freedom from the need for meaning. He doesn't need the universe to give him a reason anymore.
And in that freedom, he finds grace.
A secular grace, yes. The simple fact that existence is a gift. The sea holds him, the sun warms him. He didn't earn it. It's just there.
So the whole thing shifts. It's not about cosmic meaning anymore. It's about immediate mattering.
Exactly. The abstract questions fall away, and what's left is the concrete reality in front of him. His final thought is so simple, so powerful. The child is hungry. This is real. Feed her.
The lesson being that these small acts of decency, they won't fix the world.
They won't. They're not everything. But, and this is the key, they are not nothing. And his last line is just devastating. And nothing, I had finally learned, was enough.
So if the young Camus taught us that the universe owes us nothing, this manuscript seems to teach us what we owe each other.
I think so. Confronting meaninglessness isn't the final answer. It's just the price you pay for clarity. The real work starts after that.
The daily work of doing the small thing, carrying the guilt, and, as the priest said, continuing broken.
An ethics of constant contaminated striving. It's not comforting, but it feels true.
Which leaves a question for you, listening. Martel discovered that purity was a luxury he couldn't afford. You live in a world of complex, contaminated choices every day. So if you accept that your hands will get dirty, what is the one small, real thing that you know matters right now? Even if you know it's not enough to solve the bigger problem. If you accept the weight of having chosen, what action do you commit to?